What's up, everybody? Hope you all had a great day. Getting into this episode of Beyond the Gates. This episode, honestly, it highlighted the major difference in parenting styles when it comes to Smitty and Martin. I like Smitty's approach to parenting. You know what I'm saying? Because you see that difference. Like, I feel like the kids are more open with Smitty and more honest with him than they can be with Martin. You know what I'm saying? They can't be so open and honest with Martin because Martin, he gets on my nerves. It's like all that hollering and getting angry. Calm that shit down. You know what I'm saying? Like, relax. That's why I love Smitty's approach. Smitty takes the time to listen to the kids, try to get their point of view, try to understand what they're saying. And, then he gives them his point of view and why he feels the way he feel about what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And try to meet them somewhere in the middle and try to give them sage advice. That's more than what Martin does. Martin just hollers and dictates. No, you're not going to go there. No, you're not going to do this. And what are you accomplishing with that position? Like, what are we accomplishing with that attitude? Because all it's doing is making the kids rebel even more and making them not want to speak to Martin about things. Because the kids, I believe they feel they can't talk to Martin. Not the way that they can with Smitty, not the way that they can with other members of the family. It's just easier. And that's why even before, I feel like Martin felt like he didn't have a major connection with the kids. Even though he helped raise them all their lives, it's like still you don't have that big connection with them like Smitty does. Smitty knows those kids inside and out because Martin is more of a damn dictator. Soon as he heard that Tyrell didn't want to go to Banneker anymore and wanted to go to UCLA, that man hit the ceiling. And he needed to bring it down. Oh, I'm not going to let my son go to no damn UCLA because of some puppy love. Then he tried to throw shade at Samantha. He said, I don't get these kids. He said, my daughter running around like some groupie. I said, not a groupie. I said, well, damn, Mark. Tell us how you really feel about these children. And don't get me wrong, if I get where Martin is coming from, but I feel like Smitty handled it way better than Martin did. I love the way Smitty handled it. You know what I'm saying? Smitty took the time and he actually listened to Tyrell. Even though he didn't agree with his decision, but it's still his decision, where he wants to go to school. But he let him know at the end of the day, Tyrell has always wanted to go to Banneker. He's always talked about going to Banneker because apparently Banneker is a HBCU. He always wanted to go. Don't get me wrong, UCLA is a phenomenal school as well. It's one of the top universities. But his main reason for going is because of a girl. And that's not a good reason to go to a college because of some girl. You should go because of what it can do for you academically. And he tried to come with that little corny ass excuse talking about I feel like going to UCLA could get me connections that Banneker can't or being here can't. That's a bullshit lie. Your family practically runs the DMV. You know what I'm saying? Like all the connections you have there with the Dupri name. He needs to come up with a better lie than that. Because connections is not your problem. You got plenty of connections already. You know what I'm saying? You just want to go there because of a girl. And even Samantha snitched him out. I was like, okay, Samantha, you can take your little snitch butt upstairs. Like, you want to go because of a girl. And, that's cool, but that shouldn't be your reason for going. And I'm glad Smitty sat down to let him know. He said, listen, if it's meant to be, it'll be. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's really, truly meant to be, then your relationship with Jessica will stand the test of time. It will stand still even when it's tested. Y'all still be together. But if it's not meant to be, then it won't be. That's just what it is. Going to different colleges is going to be a huge test for y'all relationship. Something to think about. You shouldn't go to no school just because some girl going there. No. If you always want to go to a HBCU, which Banneker is, go to Banneker. That's what you always wanted to do. See, the way Smitty handled it, that's how you handle it. The way Martin handled it, horrible. And now their household is about to get even more stressed because now Martin got to worry about re-election. Campaigning is coming up and he got the stress of that coming up, and he wanted his family to be ready. Vernon is trying to get him ready because Vernon even told him, listen, you got a huge challenger coming your way. You got a real challenger coming. Somebody that's really gonna test you. So you gotta be game ready. You gotta be war ready. You gotta make sure the family ready. And Smitty's down for all of that. Smitty, he knows what it is, so he's cool. But at the end of the day, he let Martin know family better continue to come first. Don't be sitting here letting this campaign run you. I feel like Martin promising, oh yeah, family gonna come first. I feel like that's bullshit. Because we all know how Martin feel about his political career. That political career is gonna take over their life. Is definitely probably gonna cause some major problems between them. Because we all know how Martin is. He like control. He like to holler and do all, be all manic, act all anal about things. But I really hope Martin lose. Because he need to be humble. He need to be humble. I'm ready for him to lose. Because he need to be brought down to earth. He need to be taken down a peg or two. Because that attitude of his is getting on my damn nerves, to be quite honest. So anyway, moving on from that. Leslie she working my nerves the way she keep coming at Laura. Like getting in her face, talking about something, oh, I don't want people to think I'm stalking you or anything. I'm like, Leslie, if you don't go your ass somewhere. Even when she bumped into her at the hospital at the elevators. I love how Laura finally had enough. Laura snapped back at her. She said, first of all, I ain't no little girl. She said, I'm a grown ass woman. I said, okay, Laura. I said, it's about time. You need to buck up at her. You need to buck up at her ass. Because, inside Laura was terrified. But I'm glad she gave it to Leslie. Leslie talking about, oh, I should sue you for defamation because Laura keeps saying how she tried to kill her twice or whatever. If anybody should be suing, it should be Laura. Laura should be suing. Because you did try to kill her twice. She should file a damn civil suit against your ass and take them millions. But I enjoyed Laura bucking up. Because I just feel like Laura's going to have to. She's going to have to show Leslie something. She's going to have to lose her mind one good time on Leslie crazy ass. Because Leslie still giving her the little subtle threats. Talking about, oh, I don't leave loose ends. I just really wish that Laura would not listen to Nicole, because Nicole's sitting there talking about she could help her with her anxiety when it comes to Leslie and try to help her cope, come up with some coping mechanisms for whenever she bumps into Leslie or whatever. I wouldn't listen to Nicole. I'm just saying. Me personally, I wouldn't. Because Nicole is just allowing Leslie to just run amok. Say whatever she want to say, do whatever she want to do with no consequence. Leslie, you got to fight fire with fire when dealing with that hoe. You do. You got to meet her at her level. You know what I'm saying? You got to fight crazy with crazy. That's the only language homegirl will understand. You keep trying to take this higher road with her. It's not going to work. It's just not. They keep trying that and it does not work. She just keeps coming back more and more. So Laura just going to have to find her inner strength and just go buck on homegirl. So anyway, when Carlton got off the elevator and bumped into Leslie, of course, Leslie trying to pull him into a scheme, talking about oh, we both don't want to see Ted and Nicole reconcile. She trying to work with Carlton, if she, to keep Ted and Nicole apart so they could both get what they want. Carlton better not do it. I swear to God, I could see his dumb ass doing it, but he better not. He better not. Like, you could get Nicole all on your own. You do not need to work with the devil to do it. I'm just saying. Because, he went to see Nicole trying to, talk to her about Winterfest and them going there together or whatever. And, Nicole tried to brush him off, but, she want to go because they was reminiscing about the past. And I love how Nicole did let him know, like, listen, she ain't trying to jump into nothing serious. She trying to keep it casual, keep it cute. I'm like, exactly. Keep that shit casual. And Carlton should know that. Like, she is not trying to, jump into no serious relationship right now. She just signed divorce papers not too long ago. She trying to be in her single era. And he need to respect it and leave it alone. But Nicole do need to move on. Not necessarily with Carlton, but, I'm cool with her having fun with him. But as far as something serious down the line, hell no. She needs somebody else. She needs somebody different than that. So anyway, moving on from that. So Anita, her and Laura was going over Winterfest. That's when Leslie came up in there trying to act the fool on Laura. And Anita was so over it. Anita was like, leave that girl alone. She was like, she family. Stop messing with her. Don't trifle with her again. Leslie talking about, oh, I'm not trifling. Yes, you are. You're a trifling ass. And of course, she wanted more to do with Winterfest or whatever. And Anita wasn't here for it. She said, listen, you did what I asked you to do. That's it. And of course, Leslie trying to bring up Vernon and what he got going on and trying to allude to the fact that, he cheating basically. She ain't outright trying to say it. She just alluding, trying to put stuff in Anita's head or trying to say little slick, snide comments or whatever. I'm like, Leslie, if you don't go somewhere because you in this little cheating thing that you think he doing is going to backfire, because I'm pretty sure he ain't cheating. You're going to have egg on your face. You're going to look like a dummy. So Anita and Vernon was on the phone talking or whatever, and that's when Eva came in. I feel like Anita needs to get over what happened to Barbara. She needs to reconcile herself with that. Like, she really needs to let that go, because I feel like the more she keeps blaming herself for Barbara, the more she keeps giving Eva and Leslie a pass because she felt bad about Barbara. So she's allowing them to get away, mostly Leslie. Like, she just keeps allowing that lady to get away with that slick mouth and taunting people and popping up at her house all for the name of Barbara. She need to let that go and get buck with Leslie, like, real quick. And my thing about Eva, I like that Eva takes accountability for what she did to Ted and Nicole. She took accountability for it, because at the end of the day, yes, Leslie has filled her head with lies and manipulated her and all that type of stuff. But I'm glad that she saw that, she could have pulled away at any given time. You know what I mean? Like, she knows right from wrong. But she needs to decide what kind of person she wants to be. Does she want to be a carbon copy of her mama? Because that's what she turning out to be. And my thing is, does Anita even know that she slept with Tomas? Because I don't know if Kat ever told Anita that. I don't think she did. But if Anita knew everything about Eva, she wouldn't be this nice to her. Because she's trying to give Eva a pass because she know that Eva was lied to and manipulated. So she tries to be a little nice to the girl and not blame her for her mother's actions. But it's like, you don't know all the stuff that Eva does all on her own. You know what I mean? And Eva know that her mama did that shit to Laura. Eva know it, but yet she not going to try to, throw her mother under the bus. But she know her mother guilty. And that's why I just feel like Anita needs to stop giving them passes. You are Anita Dupri. It's time for y'all Dupris to squash these hoes. Like, because Leslie getting away with way too much stuff, and it's time to nip her little ass in the bud. So anyway, I did like Nicole's conversation with Laura, though, when they were talking about Winterfest and talking about mental health and all that type of stuff. See, I like when they delve into that kind of conversation and what they need to do to fix that, or try to help with it and bring more awareness to things. I love that. Because it's not always talked about enough. So I'm glad that they're, trying to do something about that and work with foundations and their own foundations and, bring more awareness at these charity events, because that's huge. But anyway, that was pretty much the whole episode. Hit the comment section. Let me know what you all thought, and I will see you all later. Have a great weekend. Peace.